Thank you, Brian.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Councilwoman Biancardi.
Here.
Councilwoman Bozak. Here. Councilman Loving. Councilwoman McCarr. Here. Councilwoman Scott. Here. Approval of minutes. So moved.
Oh, second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Biancardi.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Jane?
Nothing right now. Further down, I have some stuff.
Roseanne?
Nothing right now.
Jennifer? I just have to announce for conflict of interest, my son Joseph is working for the Parks Department as a lifeguard. Awesome. Tony?
Nope.
Clay?
Nothing.
Is Martin on?
He's not. However, we do have the information we need related to the topic of the CCM project list. He sent, I think this was back in mid-July, 2 documents in an email. One is the task order, which includes the application, the design of the bid construction documents with the scope of work for the roads that would potentially be awarded in the application, and then the construction administration. It is at a fee not to exceed $70,000, which is consistent with the last few years that we have received the CCMG. The application, I believe, is due on August 12th. So if we are going to apply, we would need to approve this task order this evening so that he has time to prepare that. If we wait till August 10th, then he's only got a couple days.
Does it have everything on there that you need that is on the top of your list for now? You can copy of it?
When was it sent?
July 14th,
July 13th.
13th, 14th.
There's also the spreadsheet of roads that he compiled based on, I spoke to him yesterday, based on PACER ratings and also roads that were suggested by Rob. The one that I would like to ask him to include, which might bump another, is my understanding is Oak Leaf is now in the inventory. And so that's probably something that we would want to try to put in on this round.
So for
I think
they only have gashing on Castle. Is that enough? Am I looking at this correctly?
I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up. I think what we could do though is have I would make a motion to approve the task order at a not to exceed 70,000, and then these are not final numbers. My understanding is Martin still needs to work on final numbers. We could also tweak the list if we needed to. So I would suggest that a council person work with Martin and Rob to make sure that this list is what we want to apply for. But again, I mean, my motion is to approve this. Otherwise, we're not going to have time for Martin to write the application.
Okay. I like motion to approve. Second. Discussion. Roll call.
I would just, I would just say, I think that in the meantime, with him writing this, that it needs to have, you know, still some oversight. Rob needs to know what roads are on it. So if they're approved, he's aware of that. And then if there's a council person that wants to be involved, so that we also are a part of that final road decision for the application.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Rob, do you have anything for building? No. Okay. Do you have anything for streets? Maintenance? Okay. Mike? You're up next.
Okay, I'm ready.
You just woke up.
The only thing I have is a request for that council to take Wayne Gates off of the probationary day and make them set him up tomorrow.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Discussion?
Can I get a direction as to what day this would begin so we can prepare it properly in payroll?
July 20th.
July
and
20th?
started last. And I'll get that form signed.
Okay, and council's good with it being backdated to July 20th?
I know.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, did I?
She was asking that if we were okay with her backdating it to the 20th.
Okay. You didn't notice I got a ring over the top of there.
And was that Tony and Roseanne that made those? Thank you.
Further discussion.
Oh, I thought I heard something. Sorry, roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Discussion.
Council,
Laura, roll call.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Anything from Bill?
No.
Okay.
And Angie, can I
Yes.
ask, so we are running into some police vests that have been expiring, and those are fairly costly. And we do have one that'll be coming in that I'd like to pay for with CCD funds.
How much are they?
It'll be right at $1,000. There's one that wasn't necessarily planned for. What?
You were expecting it to be much higher.
Well, no, so there wasn't one that was necessarily planned for, and I had suggested that we get on a cycle and make sure we know when they're expiring, and maybe it's something that we could cover like we do bunker gear. But certainly this year they weren't necessarily anticipating it in the budget, so I'd like to make a motion that we cover the cost of the vest with CCD funds.
Oh, second, sorry. Discussion? I do have one question. How many more are coming up expiring in the next couple of years?
I've asked for that list to be compiled, and I
He's got his hand
anticipate,
raised. Hold on.
okay,
So I've reached out to the two that I'm unaware of, which is Tim Lucas and Shannon Dumovich, trying to get the answer. But I sent the email out last night to them, trying to figure that out, prepare it for budgets. And I think Tim just got his recently, so I think we're okay next year. The only associated costs we have coming in are any employees that replace other employees. So we have an active hiring process. We're gonna have, and when we do make a decision on this hiring process, the conclusion of it, there would be another vest to be purchased.
So can we change the motion to include the second best so we don't have to vote on this again? So that they can just buy it when they need it?
I mean, I suppose we could, and then my suggestion as well, since we're coming up on budgets, and I believe Jeremy's working on this, is a list of us, you know, the cycle, so it will be taken care of in advance next time. But I would amend my motion to cover up to 2 vests with CCD funds.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Okay, does anyone have anything for sanitation, Tony?
I don't have anything for sanitation. However, I did ask Jane after the agenda was printed if she could also begin including storm with sanitation. I'm not sure if we've talked about this in a public meeting yet, but the town did receive notice that we are now designated an MS4 community. We've known this has been coming, and the recent census numbers have now given us that designation. So there are several things that are going to be involved in that: education, training. So speaking of training, one of those things that are coming up is a inspector certification class that Bill will need to attend. It's in LaPorte later this year. The cost is $747. So I would be asking that the town cover that in the general fund. And the reason is there is not a budget for MS4 currently. So as we budget, that's something that we'll need to consider, but we did have a previous expenditure that the council did cover through the general fund. So I would make a motion to cover the inspector training at a cost of $747 from the general fund.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Anything else?
No, just like I mentioned, if Jane will include that now with the agenda, there's a plan that we have to come up with. We'll be officially an MS4 designated community in less than a year. And then there are things that we will be required to do. So we'll be putting, the Stormwater Board is putting all that together currently.
Okay, do you have anything for park?
Park, as you heard, we have some lifeguards, so that's pretty awesome. They're planning the Fall Fest trunk or treat, that's gonna be on October the 8th. And then I have a question about park. So tomorrow, the park is going in front of the BZA about the shipping container at the park. And I just want to make sure that I'm able to go to the BZA meeting and speak on behalf of the park, or with, you know, Kim, the park as being your liaison, or is that a conflict of interest between me being on the town council and talking to the BZA about it, changing a decision?
Normally, I would say it's not advisable to go, but it's my understanding based on the fact that I was at the BZA meeting in June, and they essentially requested information from the town council, and they can demand that they requested it. The town council or representative come to the BZA meeting to explain the request with regards to the storage container. Because when town code was adopted, there wasn't the exception or anything for the current storage container that's been on town property for a number of years, and there was some discussion about, you know, why doesn't the town just buy a new shed or new, you know, structure to store the items. I guess the other wrinkle in this is normally the BZA is on the fourth Tuesday of the month, which was last night. I'm not sure where the information fell through the cracks, but when it was published, instead of putting July 26th for the meeting date, they put July 28th. And I was asked, what do we do? And I said, well, you can't meet on the 26th because your public notice, well, you can meet on the 26th, but your public hearing can't be that day. So you can either meet on the 28th, as you've noticed in publication, or you can do this next month. they decided that they would meet tomorrow night on the 28th. However, due to another client that I have that meets on the fourth Thursday of the month, I will not be here tomorrow night for the BZA. So, and not that we're necessarily here to discuss what the BZA wants to do, intends to do, but mainly if you want to go or are authorized with them to go, but they normally it's not appropriate for
Right, because
the council members to give their individual or perhaps collective opinion on a matter for the BZA. In this instance, they are asking for, I don't know, opinion, but for information.
I'm fine with it.
we don't know what, I won't know what specific information they're asking about till I get there tomorrow.
Well, I know that there's draft copies of minutes from the BZA, they're not, but you know. Yes, I can share them. I don't know why not, but essentially they're what the curiosity is, you know, why is this necessary? Why does that, which to me, that's kind of going beyond their response. They're asking you to go beyond what's normally required of the town council for you to show up, but then at the same time,
I feel like they're asking us to make the decision for them when that's supposed to be what they're supposed to do.
exactly, but I get the impression that they also are wondering, not just should we allow this variance or not, but why don't you do this instead, which is not, door number 3 is not an
So
option.
someone's coming with a big check to hand over.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
their duty is not to come up with necessarily an alternative solution of authorize it or not authorize, you know what I'm saying? The sense I got from them was, why doesn't the town council just pay for a big forum? That's what it kind of was about. Why are we even doing this? They should just do that.
So why can't we pay for, no, I'm just kidding, okay. Got it.
So I have on park. RDC, there's nothing that need, shared ethics is not here. Okay, correspondence item, notice of public comment, Ozina Cement, Cleveland Cliffs, Burns Harbor, item, registration approval, Edmondson, North Holmes Portage, item, notice of public comment, Sun Cosmetics LLC, Porter County, item, notice of public comment, Powder Processing Technology LLC, Porter County, item, notice of approval, registration, NIPSCO Wheeler Station, Hobart, Porter County Election and Registration, Vote Center Use Agreement Form.
And that last one, I presume that is for the election on Tuesday, November 8th. Plan Commission meets on Monday, the 7th, so we just probably should make sure that that board knows, and any notices regarding that board get updated if we're meeting in an alternative location than this room. Yeah, and then Jane, are they normally cleared out of here by that next morning with all the machine and everything? So the town council meeting on midday tonight should not be an issue. Yeah. So mainly just expect plan commission meeting on Tuesday the 7th. Or Monday the 7th of November. Sorry.
Is there a form we need to sign?
Yeah, they sent some type of agreement or understanding form that they have not done in the past. I'm not sure if they just feel this is like similar to a memorandum of understanding or something, but it had some language in it.
Yeah, I think that's probably because some, especially churches, have been known to say, yeah, we'll do it, and then back out of it, and then they're left scrambling. So it's to kind of keep the scrambling from happening in the hours before the election. But there's, and I can't remember if it says like a town hall or town building, but I know in statute, schools have to authorize or have to allow voter elections to take place. And I'm not sure about maybe fire stations too. But I think this is, so they aren't left scrambling, trying to find locations and notify voters.
Is there a deadline for that, Jane, for us to like sign it and return it?
You know, Tony, I'm sorry, I don't recall.
And I apologize, I don't remember seeing it, but it's not till November, so I feel like if you could circulate that, we could do that
Sure.
August 10th.
Okay,
Thank you.
Staff anniversary recognitions, there's none for this month. Burns Harbor Scholarship Awards. Should we?
they're on the back, they're on the back.
Oh, I haven't gotten that far in my lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, because we normally give them out in July, because some of the students are already heading back to school by August. They did release the checks in lieu of the fact that you guys were unable to meet. I did put a list of the recipients on the back for the council to review. And my husband sent, or Kurt Jordan, I guess that's the appropriate way to say it, sent a note saying that he stepped down after 22 years on the scholarship committee. He is one of the last, or was the last original founding directors, still on the board from the year 2000. It was him, Terry Swanson, Keith Salzgiver, Richard Friday, and Mike Prime. And he was the first and only secretary for that board for the 22 years, and he was thankful for the opportunity to serve on the committee. And so he wanted me to share that for the council. So the scholarship committee is looking for a board member. So if anyone is interested, they should contact the scholarship committee people. They select their own. And the members on the back: Adam Davis, Griffin Newman, Haley Freeze, Autumn Friday, Justine Kaiser, Troy McCormick, James Rose, Condoleezza Wright, and Jonathan Wright were recipients of an award this year.
I saw Corinne also posted all that to Facebook, so it did go out after the awards.
Yeah. They were disappointed they couldn't join and do photos like they have in the past, but you know, things happen. And so hopefully next year.
Okay. Redistricting in accordance with Indiana Code 3-5-10.
I know Jane sent that email and I sent everybody a response, and based on town code and yet code, the fact that the town of Burns Harbor is essentially one election district where the 5 council members are at large. I believe that we can just certify, and I'm not sure who that goes to, Jane, if it goes to.
It would go to the clerk.
Porter County Election Board.
Yeah.
Just to certify that the town still satisfies all the requirements of applicable statutes, and just to confirm that we're still one election district at large.
Well, and I spoke to Tony about this more thoroughly today. The last time at the 2010 census, that's when they transitioned to the all at large versus 3 wards to at large. And over the years, I've heard different council members suggest that maybe they wouldn't mind going back to some having districts and still having a few at large. And we talked about that. That is an option. This would be an ideal time to do that if that's what you want to do. Has to be done by the end of the year. You can't redistrict in an election year, which would be next year, those types of things. And that's why I thought it might be ideal to put it on here. If that's something still anybody's interested in, it requires an equal as possible number of people in each district. So it would require looking at the census blocks and the census data to determine that. So it would take some homework if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to do it, that's fine as well. But as long as it appears in the minutes that you've discussed it, made your decision, I think that for historical purposes would be something that you should do.
So something we have to vote on, if we want to stay despite that large.
I don't think you need to vote
Yeah.
on it, I think you need it, I think it's more important if you want to go back to districts, you need to essentially indicate that, as James said, that's something that has to be completed by 12/31/22.
Tony, do you want to go to districts or stay at large?
I'm fine staying at large.
You guys wanna go?
I-
Stay at large.
I think stay at large. I think it's
Stay at large.
difficult as it is to find people.
Yeah.
Now you're making your area even smaller.
That's the decision, I don't think you need to vote to say that you're gonna stay at large, but essentially tell the clerk to, I don't know, the county clerk has a form, but how we communicate or correspond with the clerk or election board to certify that we are still in email requirements of that.
I can reach out to her, chat with her and see if there's something specific we need to do, get that form if necessary, and get some guidance from you if need be.
And it might just be, forwarding the email that I sent a week or two ago that shows her the town code that says that everybody, all at-large council members and the clerk treasurer are voted at large.
Yeah. And it has to do with our population still being under 3,100 as well, but it'll be, well, I'll chat with her and then I'll reach out to you, Clay, if you don't mind, if I
That's fine.
run into trouble.
What's population now?
2255,
Okay, so we're.
sorry, 2055.
So we're way still.
Mhm.
Shared internet service between town complex buildings.
So you guys received an email from me with a quote from Brainstorm Computers. Back in, I think it was 2008 when I was on the council. Jane and I had started an IT project which involved running a fiber optic line between the 3 town buildings, so street, fire, and police and town hall. And the intention was to connect everyone. And we didn't get that far in the project, but we had the fiber line. And so when the police department recently needed to increase their speed, we revisited the project and thought, okay, maybe now is the time to connect everyone. So we reached out to Brainstorm, and the project evolved slightly, but basically the goals are to connect everyone through the already installed fiber line so that we can all share a single internet service and firewall. So everyone would have a firewall. We would want to increase the speed to all the departments and add additional access points. So they're in the fire and the street department, they need some additional access points to have better connectivity. And then the last goal is that we would meet the requirement of the 911 Premier One service for police and fire. So that's a new service they'll be going to in September. They need a fast speed and they need a firewall. So we thought now might be a good time to do that. We can get all of that scope done in a cost not to exceed $5,000. So I would make a motion that we engage Brainstorm to complete that project at a cost not to exceed $5,000 with using seeded funds.
I'll second. So we can discuss.
Discussion.
So the only,
What does that do for, do you know what that does for the bills? Like how much that, combining all of, combining everything as one, what that savings would be?
yeah, so Jeremy, sorry to pick on you. How much is your internet service now that you've increased your speed?
The new bill it's between $250 and $260 a month, which is up from our singular bill of $159. However,
Right.
each department is currently paying $159. Now we would have a shared cost as a total of the singular services.
Yeah, so we'd
250 and
cancel, we'd be able to cancel everyone else's service and use the one, which is a higher speed through the police and then divide that by 4. Now with this upgrade though, what we don't have currently for everyone is a firewall. So the device would not cost us, the firewall would not cost us, but there is a service fee. There's a monthly service fee and it is in the quote. I want to say it's, depending on the size, it could be like $160 a month, maybe a little more. And basically, you know, that's going to protect all of our networks. We'd have 4 separate networks. So we're police, fire, town, street would be separate. And the reason for the service on a firewall is it updates daily based on threats that it detects. So you can have a firewall with no service, but there's really not a point to that. So there's lots of things that this would, you know, improve in terms of connectivity and cost savings. However, the glitch is the cell tower was doing some work, and although they were told where the line was, they broke it. And fiber is like glass, and so our project is going to be delayed until the contractors come out and fix it, which most likely is going to involve pulling a brand new line. So I have talked to Brainstorm about that to make sure that it was the fiber line that was cut. And, you know, we would want to make sure that that line is good before it's buried and usable. So unfortunately, that's delayed. I did reach out to the contractor today. I had been talking with him and asked if there was a date set to fix it, but he did not reply to me today.
Tony, if I may,
Mhm.
I was told yesterday that they were coming out to check it out yesterday between 1 and 5. And they had not been here by the time I left work yesterday. And when I went over there this morning, I couldn't see anything because the trench was full of water. So I don't know if they came yesterday or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And I talked to Dallas as well. And Jane provided Chester's phone number, and I think it was called Network Communications. They might have been the person who ran the line. So they did ask us for that information, and it's a private line. So we own it. And so the contractor will fix it. It's just, you know, obviously now getting on that schedule and having it fixed. But I'd still like to, I mean, obviously I made the motion to move forward with the project, and that way we can be ready to do that when the line is operational again.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dean Carney,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steph.
Yes. Replace town hall windows.
Or I can do it if we get about $20,000. We have 12,000, we gave you 12,000. If we run it, if I get 4,000, I can replace all the windows and get the windows trimmed that way. It's like we trim that.
It was suggested too, though, Angie, that if we're siding the building, that maybe there's some windows that we could remove. Maybe there's extra windows that we could just take out and, you know, fill in and save some on that cost.
The two behind you guys, I would take those two out. Run out of line.
There's windows?
Yeah.
So they can go.
One-
Well, this one's covered by a flag. There really is windows? Oh, there are.
One from chief's office and then one from the civil inspector. There's two in that. What's that office called, Julie?
The Board of
Is that the
Zoning,
RDC
the
office?
Plan and BCA office in the front.
There's two in there, and there's really no need to have two.
I have time next week. I could work with Mike and Jane since they're in those buildings, and we could maybe come up with a plan of what windows to keep or not keep that we could have for August 10th.
Okay. So it's just an extra 8,000 on top of the 12 we already approved?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to wait till the August meeting since it's in like 2 weeks to vote on this, or do you want to vote on this, like, does someone want to make a motion now? What do you guys want to do?
I think we should, if we're gonna eliminate some windows, I mean, we're only 2 weeks from the next meeting. I think we could have that planned for the meeting.
Okay. Are we reciting the whole building or reciting part of the building?
Hold
Oh, so it's all gonna match.
it.
It'll all match then. We're not.
The whole thing. The only thing that.
I was understanding we're only doing part of it, but
No.
that was my concern. Is it gonna look?
Yes, the one company chart was gonna, gave us a estimate of $15,000 each side floor. For 12,000 that you gave me without the window, the 12,000 you gave me, that was able to do the entire building. Without labor. No labor, it's just what we make.
Okay.
So if, with the $20,000, I would be able to replace all, even, there's gonna be more, it's gonna be more, $20,000. Too much. We won't be able. I just wanna make sure there's enough there that we don't have to keep coming back
Okay, so you,
and leave it, trim off the windows and stuff.
Tony and Jane can figure out what windows you want to keep, which ones you want to get rid of. Do we have a timeline on this project, like how long it might take you?
About 2 weeks. Once we get everything back.
And do we have staffing for this?
Brandon's gonna help me out. We need to have this set up for part-timers. It's gonna be a mess. Well, I'm in the same situation. I'm not a person also.
I'm just concerned for the street department being down to one
Yeah.
full-time guy and one part-time guy. And within 2 weeks, can we get somebody? Have we posted the positions?
We posted the police.
We posted the building commissioner. Okay. Town complex generator.
I don't remember what day it was. What day did we lose power, Rob? Do you remember what day that was?
Let me. Shoot.
We were out of power for quite some time. The town hall generator, I'll just call it that, but it powers the police and the fire department. Had gone out at like 1:30 and discovered when the call came out that it was the radiator. Is that right?
The water pump.
The water pump, and that has since been fixed and it's working, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then that same day, I asked Rob, because that is, correct me if I'm wrong, Jane, like a 1980 generator?
Yeah,
Okay, so in the meantime, not knowing how long it might have taken to get that piece, but thankfully they got it right away, I asked Rob if he could go ahead and request quotes. From what I've seen come into my email, we have 2 so far. Have you received a third?
No, I have not. Ellison
Have you
was supposed to be here last Thursday and I have not seen or heard from him yet.
Can we follow up and try to have that third one, so that we can look at those at the August 10th meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, my concern is that one came in right away, then the next one, and with the time between them, we could run into, are they still gonna honor a price? So,
Correct.
I don't know, now that it's working, you said you guys check it on a weekly basis, correct?
It cycles every Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Okay, so what does that mean? It cycles every Tuesday?
It runs. It starts up on its own. It's on a timer. And if
So do
we
you
run-
guys, okay, so if there's a problem, do you know, or do you go over and check it, or?
No. We generally, we don't know. We can't hear it or nothing anymore. Usually if something happens with it, one of the police officers let us know. But because that happened in the middle of the night, nobody knew until they woke up in the morning and I didn't. know
Right.
in the morning.
Right, but so have you checked on it just to make sure everything's okay since that was
Yes,
replaced?
yeah,
Like,
ma'am, I have,
okay,
sorry, yes,
no, that's okay. And so it seems to be okay at this point?
yes,
Okay, but I mean, I think it's worth investigating, you know, the cost of a new one. I just, on average, I think what I saw in the quotes somewhere around like 36,000 to maybe even as much as 50, but if we could have 3, I think we could have a better conversation.
I just texted Aaron, when someone will be here, and they need to come out. So I'll let you know when I hear from him. The June property tax distribution.
The town received their June distribution on the 13th. We received 53.5% of our expected distribution for this year. And we received $230,551 in tax abatement. $163,17 was from the mill, and the $67,533 was from Praxair. That's all I have for now. We should get the rest of it in December, or hopefully we'll get the rest of it in December.
Okay. We need to advertise and fill the open positions of street laborer, building commissioner, and police officer, which I know building and police are already advertised, so we need to get street laborer advertised. Is that something that you and Corinne do? Is that something that Lori does? Who takes care of that?
We can take care of that. We can do it through Indeed. And some other, so we'll take care of that.
Right, thank you. And you guys got your police officer one up, right?
Yeah,
The approval of the June 2022 financial report.
so moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes,
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Approval to pay vouchers with 3 or more signatures.
So moved.
second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes,
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Approval of purchase orders submitted with 3 or more signatures. There is 2 for Seal Master, 1 for Riggs Outdoor Power Equipment, 1 for Great Lakes LTD, and then iWorkQ.
ours is our fleet maintenance software.
iWorks. That's good.
can we save iWork until August?
Yes.
I was just asking feedback from the different departments since they do split it, how it's working out.
So moved.
Roseanne made a motion.
Oh, second.
So just for clarification, you're approving all with the iWorks? That's what you're voting on.
Yes. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes,
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Okay, unsafe building hearing. Has he made progress?
Yes.
Okay, are we happy with the progress?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need to have that on the meeting in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. He has a building permit now. He has an electrical permit now. He has an electrician doing work on the house. The foundation is done. It's backfilled. Everything, he's moving forward. He's got his act together.
We want.
Oh, that,
Is your recommendation to pull it off
yes,
and basically cancel any unsafe building hearing and you just
Yes.
report back?
And if it becomes a problem, we can deal with it.
Well, we would just have to restart the process
Okay.
of notification, give them opportunity to correct. So that's, I mean, that's fine to do that, but just realize that we have to go back to.
Tony, how do you
Start.
feel about that? Because a big part of our problem was the foundation.
If Rob's opinion is that he's on track and everything, it's not an unsafe issue, I'm fine with that.
So I have to make a motion for this.
I think that's right. Best.
So would it be a motion to close the hearing, Clay?
Motion to cancel the unsafe building action against this property and property owner.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call,
Owner and property?
Martin Manaya. And it's 1182 Salt Creek Road.
Thank you. I just wanted clarification.
I was just saying the property, so we're covering all bases, but I
Okay.
believe he's the owner, but I wasn't
Mhm.
sure.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was getting exactly what he said in case for recording the report. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilwoman Carr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Trash use.
I would just suggest, Rob, that in your monthly report to the council, just to kind of keep them updated with 1 or 2 sentences on that progress, and certainly if
Okay,
there's some slowdowns, you bring that to the board's or the council's attention as soon as possible.
Okay, trash user fee.
Is that ordinance in order? Is it?
I have not had any communication from Councilman Bowden since our subject.
I just saw your email. I don't know why.
Does it, so it still needs edits,
No,
Angie?
hold
It's
on,
not,
hold on, I'm looking, I literally just saw this. No, this one has the stuff edited out that we were talking about. He sent it on July 13th.
I think that was the,
It's the ordinance.
yeah, so the day before, I think there was.
Yeah, because I had said something about like brush pickup and stuff. So that stuff's taken out. If you look at the July 13th email from him, it has the updated one.
I mean, if it's in order, then the next step so that it can, have discussion and public input would be a public hearing.
My advice and suggestion and really request is for the 5 of you to give it a good once over, give me any other suggested edits. So when we're back here in 2 weeks, you can say, yes, this is the one that we want to set for public hearing. We can schedule a public hearing in September, have a final vote on it in October, at the very latest November, because I know Jane and Randy has set up the logistics of.
Because this one is what I was looking at minus. What was it, what needed to be pulled out?
Okay, so look at it for August 10th.
Yeah, so we can have, but I don't think anyone has responded, and I get everyone's busy, but I sent that, on the
You did.
13th, and I haven't heard anything from anyone.
What do you want to do, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, well, everyone should look at it and have any comments for August 10th that needs to, I mean, if we're gonna have a hearing so that everyone can speak about it, then it needs to be in proper form on the 10th so we can take care of that.
Yeah, because it's not like since it's an ordinance that has fees, this needs to have.
Right.
So there's.
No,
like-
I agree. It needs to say what it needs to say, what we want it to say, and not have any errors, because that'll just add to any kind of confusion.
Okay. Do we have to have 2 votes on it? We have to have the public hearing and then a vote the month later?
And you can. The month later, if I'm understanding just the timing, so we'll discuss it in 2 weeks, decide to set up a public hearing, that would be September 14th. And we have the public hearing then you could vote on it October 12th, first reading, and if unanimous or decided, you could suspend the rules and have second reading on October 12th, or you could just go to the next month and do second reading on October 9th. But again, this is something that is starting January 1, that's putting a lot on Jane and Corinne to come up with the logistics, and there's some things about, people who, I think I even put that. There's some properties in town that don't receive sanitary sewer utility bill, but you have trash recycling, so they're not, those properties aren't even in the town's billing records, no bill. So we need to work through those logistical issues too.
Okay, so everyone needs to read it and respond to Clay if there's anything else you need changed in it, so that we can do it start at the August 10th meeting. Rob,
Yes, ma'am.
Aaron had to go out of town and then he was exposed to COVID, he will be here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Ambulance service funding, we will discuss at budget time. Open board seats, we have plan commission, it's a Republican seat that's ending because it ends 12/31/23. It's a presidential appointment. She is, Sarah Udman's moving. We have a sanitary seat that's open, no party requirement, also a storm board. No party requirement with Wilbur leaving, so Tony.
Yes, so we had 3 apply for the open plan commission seat. One is already sitting on the BZA, and there's 2 appointments to from plan commission there, so that basically wouldn't work. And then the other person isn't the correct party. So the one person that's left, I did have some correspondence with him yesterday and today, and asked him if he was still interested. He is. I was gonna chat with him and answer questions that he might have next week, and then it's your appointment, Angie. So I would have a recommendation for you for August 10th.
Okay.
But we do still need storm and sanitary. So.
Yeah.
If anyone knows anyone. Those are the most exciting ones.
You know, Tony.
Bill's not here to support that, but Clay, aren't they the best meetings to come
They're so
to?
exciting, Tony. Storm is great.
Really excited. Just talk about dirty water.
Storm is so great to sit on.
Hammering pipes and.
So good. The town garbage sale is July 29th and 30th. You can call Corinne to be placed on the town map.
Not anymore,
Not
because
anymore,
that's this weekend.
Yeah.
because that's this weekend, so we're gonna
It's Friday and Saturday, so it's,
take that off. The town garbage sale is this weekend. Get out there and buy people stuff. Okay, anything for good of the order of the community and any other business that may come before the council?
you slid past the flood hazard area. And
Oh, I did.
Have something on that.
I don't know if it's anything.
I was gonna say something, but all I want to say is that I will have a draft ordinance approved by the state for us to have at our meeting in August, which we would need to set for a public hearing. and in September. So we'll have that for that meeting.
It's a public hearing in September. It's gonna be so much fun. Sorry, I even crossed off the list like I read it. It's fun. Okay, any order? Okay.
Hey, Tony, how do we end the Zoom or shut off the recording?
Whoever's near
we
the
go.
computer, whoever's near the computer can just exit out and it should close itself.
Okay.
Oh, how do you end the recording?
Just
I mean,
shut
you'd
off.
have to,
The little red end button,
Okay.
yeah.
that'll probably work.
Mhm.
I've been on Google Zoom, I just don't record it.
Oh, I moved to adjourn. All right, make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Sorry I had to join via Zoom, but I'm glad I could.